Hi, everybody. It is week 5 in our chemistry class, so we have reached almost the 1/3 point, which is pretty cool. That means that you have a lot of information you've already learned, and we've got more to go, of course, but I want you to feel good about what you've accomplished so far because you have every right to. That reaching a milestone of about 1/3 is pretty nifty. What we're going to do this week is a couple things. We are going to finish up some of the ionic bonding that we started last week, and then we're going to talk a lot about covalent bonding, and then dip our toe into other kinds of bonds, the metallic bond and the hydrogen bond. So all about how atoms stick to other atoms and how stuff sticks together on an atomic level, which is pretty nifty. Let's go over and look at Canvas and see what we've got coming up. So this is our week 5. And just as a reminder, remember that element quiz is due the end of week 6. The dates, of course, are going to be different from every semester to the next semester, but you've got until the end of week 6 to get that element quiz done. You can always take it early, and it's memorizing those 46, I think, element symbols. The nice thing is what we're doing now should be good practice, that you just, as you go through the lessons, go through the study guide, you're working with those elements. So a lot of it's just going to come organically because you're watching the lectures and you're learning the things. You're going to learn a lot of them just by doing. But get that done by the end of next week so you just have it out of the way, which is kind of cool. First thing we're going to do this week in week 5 is we're going to talk about polyatomic compounds. Now, poly means many, atomic means atoms. And that's what we're going to begin with. As always, you can download this week's notes. And as always, these are the sections of our free online textbook that you can refer to for more information. As you go through this, the common ion sheet that you hopefully downloaded somewhere earlier in the course, this is something you really, really, really need this chapter right now. So if you have not downloaded that common ion sheet, make sure you've downloaded it by now, and hopefully you've printed it. If not, there's some information in the slides that will help you. But as you do your homework and as you do your study guide and your quiz, I'm going to assume that you have that information at your little fingertips. So you're going to definitely need that. What that common ion sheet is going to give you, and I don't know, I thought I hit the click button and it was going to show up, but it didn't. What it's going to give you is some specific details about these polyatomic ions. And as that's downloading, we're going to come back here and look at the lessons. So these polyatomic ions, these are groups of atoms that, like, this is a bicarbonate, this HCO3, this is a bicarbonate. This is a group of atoms that hang around together, and they have one ionic charge, and they bond as one thing. So this common ion sheet is a place that you can look for many of the polyatomic ions we are going to work with in the class. Next thing, of course, page 2 of every weekly module is our study guide and the key. As always, please use that key judiciously. You probably figured this out by now, but the points for the points for the study guide's 10 points a week. And if that's the only thing you do, you're going to get a really crummy grade in the class. And for your program, most of your programs, you have to have a C or above. And what that means is you have to have a pretty darn good grade on the quizzes in order to get that for the overall course, which means you actually have to learn the information. You can't just wing it or be an incredibly good guesser. So please use that study guide. The reason that key is out there is so that you can do a couple, check your work, then do a couple and check your work. That's what the best students out there are going to do. And I know you are working hard to do your very best. So please use that well. The next thing we're going to work on this week is covalent bonds. Just like co-captains of the volleyball team share the captainship, covalent bonds are two atoms that are sharing electrons, and that sharing of these electrons holds atoms together to make molecules. These are powerful, powerful bonds that hold nonmetals to other nonmetals. Well, what are nonmetallic stuff? Well, that is you, me, plants, animals, fabric, food, so many of the compounds that we're around. We're going to talk about naming covalent compounds, and we're not going to get too deep into the bonding and the naming. Why? Because it can get very complicated very quickly. And that's why those of you who are going to go on in your education might take a biochemistry course or an organic chemistry course, which are whole courses in naming and bonding covalent compounds. So we're going to give a little flavor of it, but we're not going to get super duper deep. So that's okay. Just want to get you started with this. There's my mouse. We're then going to talk about diatomic molecules. Diatomic molecules are molecules that are twosies. These are two molecules that two atoms that hang around together as pairs, and that's the way you find them in nature. And then we'll refer to the basic properties of all covalent compounds. Covalent compounds make up about 95% of all compounds, so knowing the general properties is a big deal and something you really want to work on. The last new information for the chapter is going to talk about the metallic bond and the hydrogen bond. Metallic bonds hang metal atoms to other metal atoms. It is a wacky kind of bond. Just want to give you a general overview how it works to explain the properties of metals. Hydrogen bonding is a weak, wimpy little bond that explains things like Post-it notes, how I can stick a Post-it note to my forehead and it really easily comes back off again because it is a weak bond. And that's a hydrogen bond. But why is it important? You've heard of DNA. Well, your DNA and the lovely double helix structure is held together by hydrogen bonding. So biology and the chemistry of life really depends upon it. So we're just going to do kind of a brief overview so you've heard of hydrogen bonding. As always, we're going to have a quiz this week, and the quiz is going to ask you to do some polyatomic bonding, and a lot of the questions are going to be knowledge from this week, naming covalent compounds, identifying what kind of bond you've got going on if you've got this bonding with that. You'll do great. It's a super week, and enjoy. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.